My mother asks me twice a year, what exactly are you doing for a living? Well, I work as a future explorer. I worked a lot for Volvo in the Netherlands, for example, Gamma, the DIY store, and I help them exploring the future to find their own innovation pathways. I do this as well for musea, I do this for restaurant chains, and so on. And for today, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to time, I'm really on a budget today, so I will get through my stuff today at a real roller coaster rhythm. My story today starts in Amsterdam. This summer, past summer, the 23rd of August, I was invited to the very first edition of Daybreaker. And Daybreaker, it's a party concept that is coming from the United States. And it's not the idea that on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night we're going to party and flush the entire week away. No, a Daybreaker party is at 5 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. Yeah? 5 o'clock in the morning. It starts with power yoga and it ends with disco dancing. And the unicity of Daybreaker starts already with subscribing. Online, you fill in a survey with a very personal questions like, do you feel fresh when waking up in the morning? Do you make New Year resolutions? And are you optimistic about the future? And as a return, they came with the news that I'm part of the purple people. I have a purple personality, yeah? And that means that I'm a little introvert, yeah? I'm open for change and I'm easy to access. Well, I could do with this as a result. And they said, well, but please follow and catch up with the other purple people. That's our advice. And that it will be a perfect match, I will guarantee you. Yours sincerely, IBM Watson. Because the DJ at Daybreaker is not God. It's not God who is a DJ. It's not rhythm is a dancer. It's algorithm who is a dancer. Yeah? IBM Watson is the DJ at Daybreaker. And that's very interesting. Now, at Days, everything is about dose. At Daybreaker, everything is about dose. And dose, it's not a synthetic party drug. Dose stands for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin. These are the four chemicals that define how we feel. And at Daybreaker, it's all about feeling good and get energized to start a perfect day. Now, the reason why I come here with a story, or why I open my lecture with a story about parties, is because it's a perfect example of we, myself, and AI. The combination of interhuman intelligence, inner human intelligence, and artificial intelligence, outer human intelligence. And to my belief, this is the Holy Trinity that will disrupt all kinds of industries, from food to retail to hospitality to energy distribution and especially mobility. I also say it because it's the title of my new book that I will launch the 8th or the 9th of May. And yes, it will define the future of mobility. I think most of you know Amber Mobility from Eindhoven. The CEO, Steven Nelemans, it's a guy of 22 years old, ladies and gentlemen. And Amber Mobility, it's an example of collaboration. More than 20 organizations together came to the analysis that the ultimate car that is all electric, shared, and that is autonomous within the near future, is a car that we still have to design. It has to be designed according to Amber Mobility. We have to start it from scratch. And this is the iPad on wheels that maybe, if they get all their funding, might be the very first commercially operated fleet of autonomous cars that can be shared in the world. It might be the case if they get their funding and do what they want to do. At this time, at this moment, 33 BMW i3s are in operation among employees of ABN AMRO and other organizations, and they use it in their mobility within the city of Eindhoven, and they do it to produce data. to produce big data, because big data is the superfood of artificial intelligence. And right now they try to build information in order to create intelligence and have insight on how people move around the city. And their simulations show that maybe one day we can fulfill the need of mobility within the city of Eindhoven, a city of 230,000 people with only 700 cars, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that sounds astonishing, that sounds unreal, but hey, I'm only a Homo sapiens, yeah? Maybe artificial intelligence can do things that I'm not aware of. Now, all over the world, we see that different traditional companies and also newcomers invent their own story. They invent their own future. They develop their own vision on the future of mobility. Yes? And the interesting and exciting thing is that there is a big diversity in these visions. This is how Toyota sees the future of mobility. And the interesting thing is that the differences between mobility, public transport, cars, retail, restaurants, yes, everything is blurring. They see a future where all these kinds of services will have wheels and will dwell through the city and are an accessory to our smartphone. And if you want to buy shoes, you click the shoes. And the shoe shop with 3D printing and additive manufacturing will end in front of you. So they call it multi-purpose moving space, and that's their idea. And it maybe seems weird, but be honest, a lot of our groceries, a lot of our parcels are on a public transport system already. So why not? Yeah? Future exploration. What's very funny is that future visions always say as much about the present as on the future. This is how in the 50s people envisioned self-driving cars in the year 2000. Big Cadillacs that are open and where you can have fun or have your coffee. That's interesting. And it's not that bad, actually. If we look today, I want to it's one suggestion that I have, to go to the Institute for Transportation and Development Policy. I know it's a long word. You can also type the ITDP. It's an organization with 80 agencies all over the world. And they envision the future as follows. On the left side, you see the business as usual. Right now, at this moment, on the planet, there are 1.4 billion vehicles. 1.4 vehicles. If technology exists and stays the same as today, in a business as usual, in 2050, this will be 2.1 billion cars, producing 4,600 megatons of carbon dioxide, dumping it into the air. That, ladies and gentlemen, will be a disaster. Yeah? They talk about the 2R revolution. Imagine that the future of mobility in 2050, it's all about EV, electrical driving and self-driving cars. Then we still have 2.1 billion cars, but the pollution will go down to 1,700 megatons of CO2. But it really gets funky when we have the combination, what they call the triple R revolution, EV plus self-driving and systems that are shared. Then it will drop to 0.5 billion cars with an exhaust of 700 megatons of carbon dioxide. Well, that's interesting. That's more interesting. And the sharing aspect is quite vital. If the economy and mobility grows in a business as usual scenarios, ladies and gentlemen, that might be the worst that can happen. Today, as we speak, 6.5 million people in the world die early from air pollution. 6.5 million people a year, yeah? That's twice the amount of people who die from AIDS. Yeah? And it's not only in India or China. 430,000 people die early from air pollution in the European Union. 11,000 in Belgium. Yes, 11,000 in Belgium. That's 30 times more than traffic accidents. Yeah? That's a big challenge. That's the big challenge we're on. So imagine biking through Brussels. Imagine biking through Antwerp. What is the best thing to protect your health? What's the best thing to protect your life? Wearing a biking helmet or wearing a mouth mask? Yeah? It's an interesting discussion when you're on the bar. Now in London, 90% of Londoners live for 90% of the year in an air conditions below the standards of the World Health Organization. Yeah? So I think Sadiq Aman Khan, the mayor of London, considers this really as a humanitarian disaster, and 360 degrees around, he's taking measures from low emission zones, trying to make seamless connections between public transport, car sharing, ride sharing, and all these kind of things. And he's also up for a very symbolic measure and action. Next Christmas, Oxford Street, or at least a part of Oxford Street, will be car-free. And on another level, all of Oxford Street and Regent Street, the most busy commercial center in the world, yeah, will be a park to have a walk while you are shopping. Yes, today, if you go there, Regent Street, Oxford Street, it's full of buses, full of taxis, full of cars. There's a lot of pressure on it. It's interesting also that in 2016, I think this is very exciting, Nissan had 20,000 Nissan Leafs in London in the year of 2016. And one guy said that, well, that's interesting, because when all these cars are connected, that means that there are 200 megawatts of energy, the potential to store it, 200 megawatts of energy, that's the equivalent of 2 power plants. Yeah? That is readily available to store energy. Nissan has begun also trialing an electric battery system from old worn out battery packs of the Nissans to refurbish into home batteries, just like the Tesla battery, to give it also a second life. It's very interesting what broad diversity of concepts that different players are coming with. Mini, for example, is using the energy of their brands. Their brand is all about lifestyle and luxury. They're using the energy of their brand to explore what they can do in property, yeah? In real estate. Here, together with the city of Shanghai, they are exploring how they can house people on a very on a smaller surface without compromising on luxury. Yeah? The very first development after a lot of in vivo research is in the Jing'an districts in a former paint factory, where they want to house more people on less surface without compromising on luxury and freedom. There is one reason why I like Uber. There is one reason why I like Uber. I like Uber because they teach people to step into the car of random strangers. That's an interesting behavior that is maybe vital in the future of mobility. It leads to surprise, new social context, serendipity, and that's very interesting. But there are 2 reasons why I don't like Uber. The first reason is, of course, the social aspects when it comes to work and Uber as an employer. But I also don't like that the algorithms of Uber are designed to make money. They are designed to make money. They are not designed to free cities from pressure of traffic. They are not designed to add more safety and security in traffic. They are designed to make money. Uber is launched in 2009 in San Francisco. San Francisco is the birthplace of Uber, today with 65 million clients a month. Also of Lyft, its competitor, 30 million clients a month. And the interesting idea is that in the very beginning, in this very first blue sky thinking brainstorm of Uber, they said, well, yeah, we're going to free the city from traffic jams. But right now, 2018, traffic San Francisco, yeah? Why is that? Because the algorithms are designed to make money, yeah? Drivers, these 45,000 Uber drivers in San Francisco are encouraged by the algorithm to go during peak time to the center of the city, because Uber wants to have a coverage where you can have your ride in less than 3 minutes. And that's congesting the city. So we have the upside down effect of what we sometimes think from our techno-centered optimistic beliefs. Yeah? So what are we going to do? What is Uber going to do? Well, it might take us into the air with Uber Elevate. Yeah? They talk about VTOLs, electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles. They are testing them right now. In 2020, they will test it in San Francisco on a small scale. In 2023, they will open for business in Dallas and San Francisco by taking us into the air. And next summer, you can already have your drone flights in Dubai. Now, back to diversity, back to conceptual diversity. This is one of my favorites. This is Geely, the Chinese car manufacturer, together with Volvo, are creating Lynk & Co. It's a new car. It's a conceptual car for millennials, the millennial generation. It is a connected car. It is a car that is connected to the clouds. The interface of how the user interface is completely to be personalized. You can access Alibaba, the Chinese e-commerce. Ericsson has worked with it. Microsoft has worked on it. It is a car with a Swedish mom and a Chinese dad. So it has both European and Asian genes. Yes. And the interesting thing is that it comes at a quite low price. Yeah. You will buy it online. But as an owner, you will be encouraged to share your car. So your car doesn't only cost money, you can actually make money with your car. The interface is designed to share it with your neighbors, with your friends, and every month you can earn some extra cash by sharing your car with others. I think that is very interesting. 71% of millennials, the generation born between 1986 and the year 2000, prefer car sharing, think that car sharing should be considered preferable towards car ownership. 71% of millennials say that they rather spend money on a great experience rather than to desirable goods. And but talking about technology, we know that technology can do a lot of things, but also be aware of this big socio-demographical shift, this psychological shift that is happening right now, a shift from ownership to experience. I think this is also very important when it comes to the future of mobility. So, some things you can remember from my presentation is that in the future, a car is an accessory to the smartphone. Algorithm is a dancer, and the more we share, the more we have. I wish you a lot of sharpness of the mind. I wish you a lot of energy. I wish you a lot of dose, and thank you for your attention.